One of the laws of the 2020 election is that it is not an election day, it is an election week, if not an election month, and that it is going to be very exciting because while in past elections, the will of the people was what decided the vote, it might not go this way this time. So I want to remind you of a story that we have talked about previously, but that I want to be on your radar so that the people who watch this show aren't like, just so surprised by some of the things that they might try to do after the election. So one, and potentially the greasiest, even more so than trying to get the Supreme Court to shut down the mail-in ballot count or something like that, would be if Trump loses states and those states decide, no, he actually won, which they technically can sort of do. So the president is not directly elected by the people. The official votes are cast by electors on behalf of the voters in their states. Those states have historically chosen their electors by the popular vote. The Constitution doesn't mandate that, saying only that a state shall appoint its electors, quote, in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct. Now, despite that, every state has allowed its voters to make the call in every election since the late 1800s. But in 2000, the Supreme Court held in Bush v. Gore that the states, quote, can take back the power to appoint electors. So the plan that some on the right have begun to tell reporters is that after the national election, the Trump campaign would cry foul about rampant fraud and demand that state legislatures ignore the ballot tabulations and choose their electors directly. If the campaign can sustain doubt or confusion about the ballot count, legislators will feel more and more pressure to take up the responsibility before the December 8th deadline when electors' names are sent to Congress for verification. So there is, according to The Atlantic, there's a Trump campaign legal advisor that said that this effort would be framed as protecting the will of the people. They'd effectively be saying, we can't trust the vote, so we're gonna tell you how the people would have voted if it wasn't totally fraudulent, wink, wink, fraudulent. So Jordan, we have more details. We've covered them on the show before. This is one of the things I'm worried about. Does this strike you as a possibility, or do you think that sure, technically it could happen, but they would never actually try to do that?
I don't know, and I'll just be honest. I'm worried, but I don't want to veer too much into fear and kind of just like helplessness. They are absolutely trying to suppress the vote, whether that's the decision yesterday to allow the witness requirement for absentee ballots in South Carolina. Trump's deliberate call for people to show up to polling locations and be poll watchers, that kind of stuff. That is designed, it seems to be designed to create conflict at polling locations and mayhem. We're going to see people out there taking it upon themselves to disenfranchise voters and specifically voters of color. That is alarming. And now this is this kind of bureaucratic bogging down the system with legal challenges, and also now the state by state approach to recreate, it seems, results according to their liking. All of this together is very alarming. What I hope is turnout for the Democrats is so high that it completely nullifies all of this effort. The one way to beat this is with a historic turnout. So I'm fearful, or I'm sorry, I'm a little bit concerned, a little worried, but I don't want to just resort to hopelessness. So I hope people remind themselves that turnout is the way to defeat this.
I think that you're totally right with your diagnosis there. I'm also glad that you mentioned that. I believe it's South Carolina was the witness requirement. Yeah, I'm so glad that you mentioned that because, I sometimes get so focused on. So what are they gonna try to do after the election that we can't miss that? No, they're already doing things every day. I mean, Texas decided you're gonna have one drop-off location in every county, whether it's a county with 3.5 people and a dog in it, or one of the largest cities in the country in it. That is obviously designed to make it harder and less safe for people to actually deposit their votes. The South Carolina thing is absolutely insane. One of the worst parts of it is that many people will send their ballots in, not knowing that they just won't be counted because of this. And South Carolina, like it's probably just gonna go for Trump anyway, but it could just be really close. And in the end, Like, we won't even know how many votes weren't counted. That's the thing. A lot of these efforts, it's not just that they're effective in altering the vote, it's that they're sort of invisible. We know that the process is there. We don't know how many people it actually disenfranchises, which is really scary. And I do agree. Like, if Biden wins Texas, then I don't see how you make the case that you need to override the will of the voters. On the other hand, arguably, and this is getting into maybe rampant speculation, if it is such a like wave election that he's winning states that you wouldn't expect that he should, including Texas, like, do we think that Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson aren't above saying that that itself is evidence of fraud, that a Democrat could win a state like Texas that they haven't won in decades?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they're going to try everything they can. They don't care about the democratic process. These people only care about power. So yeah, I could absolutely see that.
Yeah, although regardless of whether that's true or not, your point still stands. The best defense that we have available to us is to vote, to turn out, to get as many people as we can to vote, to get as many votes on our side as possible, to make it as strong a victory as is actually possible. We might, in the end, have to hope that the system is strong enough to actually hold even with that, but that's what we can actually do. And we have plenty of time. It's still four weeks until the election. You can go to vote.org, you can go to 2it.com/vote, find out all the information you need to make sure that you can vote. Those deadlines for a lot of states are getting closer though in terms of registration. So you're definitely gonna wanna do that now. I can't imagine you haven't yet if you watch the show, because I harangue you about it literally every day. But Jordan's 100% right. That's what we can do, so why don't we do that? If something else happens, we'll strategize then, and we'll probably be turning to Jordan for information because he's involved with an organization that is better suited than pretty much anyone to deal with something like that. But for right now, we're not there yet. So I'm with you, Jordan. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.